Welcome to News Nexus. Today, we're going to take a deep look at one of the most pressing crises in America right now, homelessness. It's a topic that's often brushed aside, but the truth is, homelessness is exploding across the United States at a scale and speed that is leaving entire communities overwhelmed. This isn't just a story about a few big cities. It's about states where entire systems are cracking under the weight of skyrocketing housing costs, addiction, economic uncertainty, and broken safety nets. It's about families who once thought homelessness could never happen to them, only to find themselves living in shelters, cars, or tents. Over the next 25 minutes, we'll explore the states where homelessness is rising the fastest, what's driving the crisis, and how it's reshaping the future of American society. We'll go state by state, region by region, to uncover the human stories behind the numbers. This is not just about statistics. This is about real lives. Let's start with the state that has become almost synonymous with the homelessness crisis. California. California has the largest homeless population in the country, with more than 180,000 people living without stable housing. That's nearly 1 out of every 3 homeless individuals in the entire nation. Cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego are the most visible examples. Skid Row in Los Angeles has become a symbol of how deep this crisis runs. Entire blocks filled with tents and makeshift shelters. But the problem isn't limited to major cities. Smaller communities like Fresno, Sacramento, and Santa Rosa are also struggling. Rents have doubled in some areas over the last decade. Affordable housing construction hasn't kept up with demand. Add in addiction, untreated mental illness, and the lingering effects of the pandemic, and California finds itself with a crisis that seems to grow worse every year. Now let's move north to Oregon. Oregon has one of the highest rates of homelessness per capita in the country. Portland, once celebrated for its livability, is now facing a humanitarian disaster. Tent encampments stretch across sidewalks, parks, and underpasses. Businesses are closing because customers feel unsafe. And yet, solutions remain elusive. The state has declared repeated states of emergency, pouring money into shelters and transitional housing, but demand always outpaces supply. Drug addiction, particularly methamphetamine and fentanyl, has made the crisis even harder to control. What's even more alarming is the growth of homelessness in Oregon's rural areas. Towns that never had to deal with this issue before are suddenly grappling with rising encampments and strained local resources. Next, let's look at Washington State. Seattle has long been a hub for tech wealth and innovation. But behind the skyscrapers and booming industries lies a growing homeless population. Thousands of people are living in tents, vehicles, and makeshift shelters. The city spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year to address homelessness, but the numbers continue to climb. The problem has spread beyond Seattle to suburbs like Tacoma, Everett, and Spokane. Police and emergency services are stretched thin. Hospitals are seeing rising cases of untreated mental health issues linked to homelessness. Washington's leaders have tried measures like sanctioned encampments and housing first initiatives, but the pace of the crisis makes it feel like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, little progress. Heading south, we find Nevada. Behind the glitz of Las Vegas, homelessness is rampant. The city has one of the highest percentages of unsheltered homeless people in the nation. Many live in underground tunnels built to channel floodwaters away from the Strip. These tunnels have become an entire hidden city, where people build makeshift homes out of scavenged materials. Nevada's economy, heavily dependent on tourism and service jobs, leaves many workers one paycheck away from losing their homes. Rents are climbing, and affordable housing is scarce. While nonprofits are trying to intervene, the sheer scale of the problem keeps growing. Now, let's turn to the East Coast, starting with New York. New York City is facing its highest shelter population in history. Tens of thousands of people are living in government-run shelters every single night. Families with children make up a significant portion of this population. Add to that the influx of asylum seekers and migrants, and the system is at a breaking point. Rents in New York are astronomical. For many working-class families, even earning 2 incomes isn't enough to afford housing. Evictions are on the rise, and inflation has only made things worse. Despite billions spent on shelters and housing programs, the crisis is still growing. And it's not just New York City. Upstate communities like Buffalo and Rochester are now reporting homelessness spikes, showing how widespread the issue has become. Let's go farther into the Pacific to Hawaii. Hawaii has the highest rate of homelessness per capita in the entire United States. The state's beautiful beaches and tropical climate hide a dark reality. Many of those beaches are filled with tents and makeshift shelters. Locals, unable to afford rising rents and property prices driven up by tourism and wealthy investors, are being pushed out of housing markets. Entire families are living in cars or beachside encampments. For a place often associated with paradise, the homelessness crisis is a grim reminder of deep economic inequality. Now let's head to Texas. Texas cities like Austin, Houston, and Dallas are all grappling with growing homeless populations. Austin, in particular, became a flashpoint when city leaders allowed public camping, only to later reverse course after encampments spread across the city. Texas is experiencing rapid population growth, which has pushed housing costs up dramatically. While the state's economy is strong, wages for many low-income workers haven't kept pace. As a result, more people are falling into homelessness, and the debate over how to handle the crisis has become deeply political. Arizona is another state seeing alarming trends. Phoenix has one of the most infamous homeless encampments in the nation, known simply as the Zone. Thousands of people gathered in a concentrated area, living in tents under sweltering desert heat that often exceeds 110 degrees. The extreme conditions make homelessness here especially dangerous. Heat-related deaths are common, and local services are overwhelmed. Now let's look at Florida. Florida is booming with new residents moving in, but that growth has sent housing costs soaring. In cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa, homelessness is rising quickly. Working families who once could afford modest apartments are now being priced out. Shelters are reporting record demand, and unsheltered homelessness is becoming more visible across the state. Colorado has also seen an explosion in homelessness, particularly in Denver. Encampments have sprung up across downtown, sparking debates between residents, city officials, and business owners. Like many other states, Colorado is struggling with the mix of rising housing costs, addiction, and lack of mental health resources. Even smaller states, like Montana, Idaho, and New Mexico, are reporting dramatic increases. Rural communities often don't have the resources, no large shelters, no outreach programs. So when homelessness rises, the impact is felt more severely. So what's driving all of this? The root causes are complex. Housing costs are skyrocketing nationwide, with rents rising far faster than wages. Inflation has squeezed families already living paycheck to paycheck. Addiction, particularly the fentanyl epidemic, is playing a major role. Mental health services remain underfunded and out of reach for many. And the COVID-19 pandemic accelerated financial instability for millions of people. What makes this moment different is the speed of the crisis. More Americans are falling into homelessness every year than states can help back onto their feet. It's a cycle that seems impossible to break, and it's leaving communities in a constant state of emergency. But behind the statistics are human beings. A veteran who served his country, now sleeping under a bridge. A single mother trying to keep her children safe in a shelter. A teenager aging out of foster care with nowhere to go. These stories are everywhere, in every state. Some states are experimenting with solutions. California is investing billions into affordable housing and tiny home villages. Oregon is trying rapid housing development. Texas has seen success with nonprofit-led Housing First initiatives in Houston. But overall, no state has yet discovered a formula that can keep up with the sheer size of the crisis. The homelessness crisis is exploding across the United States, reshaping cities, straining governments, and tearing apart communities. From California to New York, from Hawaii to Florida, no state is untouched. The question we all have to ask is this: what kind of society do we want to be? One that turns away, or one that faces this challenge head-on? Here at News Nexus, we'll continue to bring you the stories that matter, stories that affect real lives and shape our shared future. If you found this video informative, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what do you think is the most realistic solution to ending homelessness in America? Thanks for watching News Nexus. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and take care.